Although the Wallabies may not have the X factor like the All Blacks or the raw passion of the Springboks, there's no doubt that Australia have maintained a level of performance over the last 10 years which has seen them consistently on World Rugby's top table. From the Campese era to the present day, the green and gold have always been easy on the eye. Here is our review of a decade of the Wallabies. Although Australia have been playing New Zealand in the Bledisloe Cup for over 60 years, there was something special about the first such occasion in the Sanzar era. For one, the matches would count towards the extended Tri-Nations competition with South Africa. But, furthermore, the new professional outlook had added spice to the proceedings. There was a spring in the step of the more seasoned campaigners. The inaugural Super 12 season had galvanised the sport in the Southern Hemisphere, and following the successful conclusion of that competition, the rugby public watched with bated breath as the historic first game approached. A wet and windy day in Wellington probably wasn't what the organisers had in mind when the Tri-Nations was planned, and it wasn't quite the weather the Wallabies and their coach Greg Smith were hoping for either. Leading Australia out on this historic occasion was new captain John Eales.
Mertens! Walter Little goes down, this is 15 metres out. Marshall, change of direction. Michael Jones, Lobo in midfield, 3 out to his right. Zinzanbrook, Cullen, Christian Cullen. Walter Little, Tronfell has been in brilliant touch today, relishing the game. And they've hooked it back between his legs, and Merton's got it, and there's a line-up out to the right, and Zinzanbrook is running hard. And he's given it to Wilson.
A record defeat for the Wallabies against their oldest rivals.
No, I think we've got a lot we can take out of it. Rugby's a game you've got to just play to the conditions, whatever they may be. And out there today we had difficult conditions, but we didn't adapt to them at all, really.
Australia's first home game of the Tri-Nations was at the Sydney Football Stadium against the mighty Springboks. The World Cup holders arrived in Sydney on the back of a 15-game winning streak. Australia had to raise their game considerably.
This is Bryle. He was a bit high last time. He slipped it back nicely here.
Stay there.
Now to Burke. He shaped for a drop goal. Almost got through. Foley. The Australians punching away in close here. That's Manu. Here's Gregan. Now it's Manu. Lovely pass, Howard. Manu. Roth. Joe Roth. He got it.
Well, it's smacked up on the sideline here. We've got a little brawl going on, but that doesn't detract from a really terrific Australian try. Morgan led the charge. Manu linked. The crowd are so happy. Watch it here. Manu gets involved. A beautiful ball back inside to Howard. Howard again to Manu. Manu nearly drops it. Gets it back to Joe Roth. Very high. Gets across the sideline there, and Hazen unable to stop him.
South Africa go deep. Now to Horan. Tim Horan, who scored 2 tries against the Springboks in '93. He's following. He wants the bounce. Joubert! A danger man. Oh, shocking pass. It's a try to Horan. Tim Horan couldn't believe his luck. Stransky in at scrum half. Honeyball. Can they do it? The line's open. Another great tackle. That's small. Joubert, that must be now. Who's there? Hendricks. Hendricks gets the try. Has it come too late?
It had. The Wallabies ran out 21-16 winners. There was little time to reflect on beating the world champions, as Greg Smith had just 2 weeks to get his physically exhausted men right for the crucial return game with New Zealand. Bledisloe Cup honours were at stake in Brisbane, and Australia were determined to give a better account of themselves than they had in Wellington. The game plan was to play with a more physical approach, although number 8, Michael Bryle, took those instructions a little too literally in this clash with Frank Bunce.
Foley. Beautiful work by Sinzanbrook. Straight to Mertens, who decides to have a go. Michael Jones with him, number 6. Again, lost by New Zealand. That's the 3rd time today. It could be a try for Australia here. Tune. Ben Tune. Guigan. A beautiful try for George Guigan. He's got away from Richard Toms. Matt Burke breaking out, chased by Lomu. He's got it in the clear, and this is a brilliant run away for Burke. Super try. An absolutely brilliant try. Marshall, Mertens, wide to Lomu at centre. Jonah Lomu. And 3 Australians took to take him down. It's desperate stuff for New Zealand. They've got a big line up to the right. Marshall, he's got to take it round by the posts. Justin Marshall.
And he should look to the box.
The box is the little place behind the winged on the far touchline.
Perhaps he's setting up for the drop kick.
He's running it on the loop. Mertens through. Oh! Cullen falls over. Bunce drives on. The try is scored. The All Blacks have burgled this game off the Australians.
Bunce's try the difference between the two sides, and the Bledisloe Cup safely retained by New Zealand and Sean Fitzpatrick. Then it was over to Bloemfontein for the return match against South Africa.
We're a quarter of the way through the match, and we're still level at South Africa 3, Australia 3. It could have been 6-3, but for a coat of paint to South Africa with Stransky. This is Pienaar cleaning up well. And the captain in the driving seat there. Now it's with Roux. It fell awkwardly for him, but away goes Justin Svart. What tremendous pace! Oh, he's going to go all the way! Fantastic tackle from Campese, but Stransky is over. And South Africa have a memorable score. And Stransky got the try, but it was made almost entirely by the winger Justin Svart.
John Eales is away here.
Good break from Eales. Gregan went with him. That looked a little high, but the referee keeps it going. Michael Bryle. Oh, he's got support outside if he can get it away. The quick hands come, and it's Danny Herbert. Oh, it seemed to go forward that time. The referee has spotted it. It's coming back on the Australian side, but no, he lets it go. And it's Campese. Roth, Tune, they're back in the match. They've given themselves a chance. And Ben Tune goes in for his 2nd international try, still only 19 years of age. And well done, Australia. They thoroughly deserved that.
I'd like to play these guys again, actually, after tonight. I thought we let them off the hook. We had a few opportunities towards the end there, and we kept on making them go backwards and backwards. And unfortunately, the ball to breakdown sort of stopped our progress. But that's how games go. We've had 2 games now in 2 weeks where they've been very close, and we've really blown them.
And so a frustrating end to the Wallabies' first Tri-Nations campaign saw them finish bottom, with the All Blacks taking all the honours. After an unsatisfactory conclusion to their 1996 campaign, the under-pressure Greg Smith and his Wallabies were intent upon vast improvements in 1997. Gone was David Campese, but there was still a healthy mix of youth and experience amongst the squad. And both of those qualities will be called upon for their opening fixture against the All Blacks in Melbourne. Leading out New Zealand was Sean Fitzpatrick, who'd feared for his career only days earlier, but somehow managed to recover in time for another shot at the Wallabies.
Change of direction by Marshall. Now Tane Randall. Beautiful pass to Frank Bunce, and Bunce gets the first try of the game.
Thank you.
Larkham. 5 metres out from the line, Steve Larkham. Ball there for Gregan, slowly. Chance. John Eales. No, double movements. They'll take it quickly. Away goes Gregan. Marshall got in to make a big tackle, and the try's given.
Australia's fight back continued with Jason Little's try following Stephen Larkham's kick to the corner.
Needs a bit of help. Sails it, sets it beautifully. Zinzan with an Aussie rules kick. Cashmore, and he runs it out, and that is it. And the All Blacks have done it again.
It's very disappointing because we worked very hard on a few aspects of our game. We seemed to fix them up a fair bit, but we just weren't good enough on the night.
A week later, Eales and his men had the chance to bounce back in Brisbane against the Springboks. Back in the number 10 shirt was veteran David Knox. And from the start, there seemed to be more of a spring in the Wallabies' steps.
So the Australian scrum holds up well again. Knox has gone to the right. Now it's Holbeck and Little through the dummy. Manu! The Australians only 5 metres out. Great support play from Wilson again. Gregan now, Knox. The chances on it must be. Larkham! Beautiful try to the Wallabies. Still no smile from Greg Smith, but I think he can afford one. Manu's up the front. John Eales at the back, unopposed. Harry doing a grand job with his sweeping. Gregan and Manu. Yes! Big Daniel Manu gets the second try for Australia. He's third in test matches, and the Wallabies are on fire. Knox open side. What's he going to do? Here comes Larkham! Stephen Larkham! Did he get it? No! Scrum gone down on the tight head side. Referee wants it cleared. David Knox. Gregan. Larkham. Gregan again. 10 metres out. Tune. Another one. How did Georgie Gregan get that pass away? South Africa wants 7 points here. Some self-destructing by the Australians. Ozturut is over the goal line. And he got it. He got the try. Here's Gregan again. Back to Harry. Knox is there. The hoot is gone. Tune! That Tune! His second! What a spectacular entry there by the 20-year-old Van Tune. Holding. You're in front. Montgomery running well. Kruger. 3, 2 on 1. The try's there for Andrews.
And so Knox, yet to lose in the gold and green shirt, again proved Australia's talisman. But was he back for good?
I mean, I'm not even going to think about that right now. We're just going to have a pretty wild night tonight, and going on to tomorrow, I suppose, too, and then we'll have a few days off, start to think about it.
The action then moved across the Tasman Sea to Dunedin. John Eales was sidelined with injury, and so David Wilson led the team for the first time.
Handed away, Tane Randall.
Justin Marshall then added a third try for the All Blacks.
5 metres out from the 22, Gregan feeds Knox. Holbeck, clean break. Jason Little, chance here, and in they go early on. To Knox, a change of direction for Larkham, 22-metre line. Out of a few weak tackles, Larkham, and he's just waltzed away. Stephen Larkham through some ineffectual tackles. It's a turnover once more. Foley standing wide, the hooker for Australia. Ridden to the ground by Zinzanbrook. Now Gregan to Knox. They've got some numbers here as Troy Coker feeds it away to Ben Tune, who's had a quiet day. Tune pops it beautifully into midfield. Trapped there by Robinson. And let's have a look. Try given.
Ben Tune added another late on, but Australia had left themselves with too much to do. And so Fitzpatrick, in his final Tri-Nations match, took the honours. The Wallabies then went to Pretoria, determined not to finish bottom of the table for the second year running. They got off to a good start with a David Knox try, and initially things looked promising.
Beautifully taken out by Langford, quite simplistically. Now Holbeck, Little, Joe Roth. Shadowed by James Small. Beautiful pass on the inside. This is great play this by Australia. Can they finish this off? This is going to be a superb try. Joe Roth with try number 2 for Australia.
But the second half turned into a nightmare, with the Springboks scoring 41 unanswered points. 61-22 the final score, a record defeat against South Africa. Australia's failure to at least register a bonus point in that drubbing in Pretoria meant they finished the campaign adrift at the bottom of the standings. Another season to forget. Fireworks were expected on the pitch as the Rod McQueen era began with a mouth-watering test against Clive Woodward's youthful England side. McQueen had taken his Brumbies to the Super 12 final in 1997, but now his task was to turn the underachieving Wallabies into World Cup hopefuls. Clive Woodward was also planning for the future, and somewhat controversially, he sent a team of youngsters and fringe players out onto the pitch in Brisbane against a Wallabies side determined to impress their new coach. In at fly half for the first time in a Wallaby shirt was Stephen Larkham.
It's Cobain taking ahead. Larkham. Daniel Herbert again, elusive. Venture. Halfway. Kick and chase. He's got the speed. Stephen Larkham. What an Australian score. And here's an overlap. What about the pass to Horan? Wilson and Tune. Here's Tune. Herberts. Horan in support. And Larkham's with him too.
Humiliation for England, but a promising start to the McQueen era. And so to the first Tri-Nations fixture of 1998. New Zealand would obviously be a stiffer test than England. The city of Melbourne had never been a rugby union stronghold in Australia, but the people there are proud Australians, and the Wallabies can always rely on fervent support at the huge MCG.
I think it's going to be great. I mean, last year there were probably half the crowd was New Zealanders, and a new game, really brought to Melbourne basically, and hopefully the crowd can get behind us this year, and I suppose have a little bit more knowledge of the game and be able to really support the Australian team, to the hill this time. It's going to be great running out in front of what's probably 80,000 people again, and it's a great atmosphere. It's a great ground. It's one of the best in Australia anyhow, so it should be a great occasion. Hopefully some good football being played as well.
McQueen was keen to put an end to New Zealand's dominance over the Wallabies. The All Blacks had now won the last 7 meetings.
Again, it's slowed down. It's Kearns in close, well read by Craig Dowd.
Get off it!
Daniel Herbert's a battering ram. Now they're making metres. Here's a chance! Matthew Burke! Straight through the middle! The Wallabies draw level. Australia scrum. Again, looking very solid. Kefu charges ahead. Gregan now. There's the battering ram. Joe Roth. Gregan does well. Kearns! Up to the 22. Marshall tries to stop it. Here's Larkham. Herbert. Straight through. Daniel Herbert. It's another one to go. They're looking for Cullen. Here's Mertens. He wants Wilson. Gregan in front. He's just caught. And there's the try to Jones. Just to put it back out to 8 in favour of the Wallabies. Matthew Burke, 24. New Zealand 16.
Burke's points enough to give Australia their first win against New Zealand since 1994.
It's a great feeling. I mean, everything we worked towards was heading towards tonight. Big night in Melbourne. We had fantastic support from the crowd, and that helped us so much tonight.
After Melbourne, the Wallabies headed west for the first ever rugby test to be held in Perth. There was a buzz around the Subiaco Oval before the game as the Western Australians at last had the chance to see the Wallabies in the flesh.
Kefu gets it away to Gregan. Here's Larkham! Tune! What a start! So the defences are just calling the tune at the moment, and there have been some fiery clashes. Van der Westhuizen slams his way through the Aussie defence from a quick tap. Willio was there. Gregan now. South Africa's turn to hold on. Joe Roth. Great pass. Larkham. Tommy Bowman. 7 metres out. Gregan. What an offload.
But the boot of Percy Montgomery edged the Springboks into the lead. A lead which looked to be only temporary when Matt Burke lined up this kick.
Just to put them back out to a 2-point lead. He's missed it again.
And so disappointment for Australia as they suffered the narrowest of defeats. It was then off to a ground the Wallabies hadn't won at in 40 years, Jade Stadium in Christchurch.
Now Gregan. Jason Little. Here's support from Bowman again. Big Tom Bowman. And he comes up with his first test try. Gregan once again. Craig Dowd's timing was pretty good. Goal line is there once more. Gregan digs it out. Larkham looks inside, and the try comes up from Matthew Burke.
He's an athlete, this man. Look at the Wallabies. They're doing to the All Blacks what they did in the first half. They're lining them all out behind their forward pack.
Horan's gone in close. Gregan releases up to Larkham. They've opened him up here. Little on the charge. Little's under the bar. Gregan, Larkham tried to change direction. Little feeds it up to Cullen. Cullen. Brilliant run by Cullen. Still going, 22-metre line. All Blacks stagger an extra metre.
Absolutely electrifying run by Christian Cullen.
Gregan delivers again for Joe Roff. Just 10 metres out.
Good ball for Australia if it's quick.
It is
3
quick.
on 2.
Little! Larkham! Stephen Larkham! Now Little in his 50th test. Up to Mayohoffler. Back the other way he goes. Mertens. Cullen! Gets up and Cullen's in. Marshall takes it quickly. Handed off to Robertson by Randall. It's there, or it should be. There it is. Marshall. Lamu! The big bloke gets over.
Australia's first win in New Zealand since 1990, regaining the Bledisloe Cup they last held in 1994.
To win the Bledisloe Cup here, it's a great feeling, and we had good support, which is surprisingly. Over here we had a lot of guys travel across, and they were very happy.
New Zealand then lost in South Africa, which meant that the Wallabies' final fixture of the campaign in Johannesburg was now a Tri-Nations decider. Australia's record in South Africa was not encouraging. They hadn't won in the Rainbow Nation since 1992 and had lost there heavily in 1997. But at least they knew what they had to do.
We've actually just learned today that the equation's changed a little bit. It's probably in our favour. There's basically 1 point different in the for and against situation. So we've got to win by more than 1 point, and we can't let them get 4 tries and us not. So I suppose there's a bit of an equation there.
And so to the first real title decider of the Tri-Nations. The Wallabies would have their work cut out as the Springboks under Nick Mallett were also rejuvenated, boasting 12 straight victories going into this fixture.
Good work at the back by Tashman, but he's quickly bottled up by the Australians. And he has the drive. This is Adrian Garvey. They've got to drive the Australians off the ball and not allow them to regroup. Rousseau. Skinstad standing off.
Hands off, Gold!
So for the third time now, South Africa come at them. Skinstad through, what a beautiful dummy, and Bobby Skinstad with a big dive. Believe me, he has enjoyed that.
Disappointment for Australia, but signs of encouragement for Eels.
Well, we've shown some great results this year, and we've come a long way since last year, which has been very pleasing for us because we've worked very hard. Tonight was very disappointing for us, but we're still on the track for the World Cup, and that's what we're certainly looking forward to.
There was still a Bledisloe Cup obligation to fulfil, this time in Sydney. New Zealand had lost all their Tri-Nations games. Surely they wouldn't get beaten by the Wallabies for a third time in a year.
Marshall now. Case Muse, 5 from the halfway line. Pick and drive. Dan Crowley, the tackler.
Stay on!
Back for Mertens. Ronnie Clark, lovely ball to Cullen. Christian Cullen! He's there! Got to put it back. Australians have got to stay outside the 10 metres. Knock on by Xavier Ross. Australia's regathered. Willio. Kill Kearns. Gregan. Eels to put Australia in front.
Eels' kick sealed a Bledisloe Cup whitewash. '99 was World Cup year, and in the build-up to the Tri-Nations, England were again the visitors, this time for the centenary test, played in the colours worn when Australia played the British Isles in 1899. There was to be no repeat of Australia's record 76-0 victory of 1998. But the Wallabies proved too strong again for England. Joe Roth among the scorers. Disappointment again for England and their young fly half, Johnny Wilkinson. The Tri-Nations kicked off in Brisbane against the Springboks.
Wallabies looking to go wide. There's an overlap. Kefu. Cobain unmarked out wide. Regan again. Horan. Horan! Tim Horan with sheer strength. Advantage being played. Gregan. Horan spots a gap. Beats the first tackle. Jeremy Paul. 15 metres out. Just a matter of seconds before the break. Gregan now. Herberts! Van Straten with the try-saving tackle. Gregan again, they want it out wide. Matthew Burke! So this is Brayton Paulser. He can scoot. Stefan to Blanche. Nathan Gray across. Gray has it. Here's Jeremy Paul. Joe Roth! What a pass from Paul! Willie gets up ahead of steam. Gregan, Horan. Jim Horan claps it on. Joe Roth, number 2.
A convincing start to the Tri-Nations campaign. A week later, it was off to Fortress Eden Park in Auckland, the 50th Test match played at the famous Old Ground. New Zealand were gifted an early try when Joe Roth dropped Gregan's pass and Justin Marshall was handed a try on a plate. Australia's cause wasn't helped by Andrew Mertens enjoying a record night with the boot, planting 9 penalties between the posts. George Gregan's try sparked a mini revival in the second half, but the Wallabies left themselves with too much to do and eventually went down 34-15. Then it was off to Cape Town for the return fixture against South Africa. McQueen had been unhappy at the performance of the Australian scrum in Auckland, and so for this test he named a completely different front row, which meant recalls for Andrew Blades, Phil Cairns and Richard Harry.
We are playing a couple of very hard games over the next few weeks, and it's going to give us, I think it's going to give us some answers as far as the scrum's concerned.
Any win over South Africa in Africa is good, so we're looking forward to Cape Town, but we're certainly not cocky, and how can we be cocky after our last performance?
Van der Westhuizen, a chance now for Brayton Paulser, back to Van der Westhuizen. Van der Westhuizen, he's just held up short. Still the Springboks have it. Who's going to play it? Is there a chance? Fleck goes. Fleck's got it!
All Australia's points came from the boot of Matt Burke, but they weren't quite enough and the Springboks held on for a very narrow win.
Too many drop balls, poor passing. We just didn't control it. We had an opportunity early on and we didn't score, and full credit to the South Africans. They came back and played well.
That result meant that New Zealand had regained the Tri-Nations trophy regardless of their final fixture against Australia in Sydney. 100,000 crammed into the massive Olympic Stadium to see if the Wallabies could retain the Bledisloe Cup for the first time since 1980.
They're very focused tonight, this Aussie front row. They are trying to put it on New Zealand. And here's an overlap for Mertens. George Gregan across. Mertens all the way. Oh, that's a soft try in the end. Australia badly exposed on the short side.
However, 7 penalties from Burke would prove the difference between the two teams.
Got it. Big drive for the Wallaby 8. 4 metres to go. 3 to go. 2 to go. They're over. What a sensational surge there from the Wallaby forwards. As soon as play stops here, the referee will blow it for full time.
Couple of souvenirs there for Jason Little, but that's it.
A record-breaking win for the Wallabies. The replaced players stream onto the field. The crowd rises as one. They are ecstatic.
Oh, it's great. It's been a huge event, and we were looking forward to playing here and retaining the Bledisloe Cup. And yeah, it's certainly just a great evening, great night.
Bledisloe Cup success proving a big boost for the Wallabies ahead of the impending World Cup.
Turtles, that'll do it, mate. All of us are going to have a drink. We're all going to have a drink. One for Finn as well, mate.
Australia ended 1999 on a massive high, lifting the Webb Ellis World Cup trophy in Cardiff. It was a remarkable feat for a team that hadn't even won the Tri-Nations yet. But this was something Rod McQueen was determined to put right.
I think we've got to build. Again, we're a side that's the majority of the side knows each other pretty well. It's important to know the game's changed quite a lot over the Super 12 season. We've seen some big advances in the game. We're getting a lot more ball time, a lot more playing of the game, which is great. Probably, I think it's something like 15% more rugby we're seeing out of that. So we've got to advance our skills a little bit, be a little bit fitter, a bit smarter. The defences are all getting better now, so we know that that's happening. So we've got to work out new ways to get through those defensive patterns, and that makes for an exciting game. So hopefully, if we can do that, it's going to be a great spectacle.
And first up for the world champions were the All Blacks in Sydney in front of a record 109,000.
Again, Mertens forced to kick it, was partly charged down, the bounce for Alatini. Umaga! That's a gift 5-pointer for New Zealand. Two tries in 3 minutes. What a start to Bledisloe 2000 and the Tri-Nations. They're finding some great gaps. Alatini again! And a third try to Cullen! It's raining tries here. It's a demolition at Stadium Australia. Well, the Wallabies haven't seen the ball, apart from that early blemish. Now they get their hands on it. What can they do? Here's Jason Little having a go. Here's Gregan. Stephen Larkham. He has Mortlock for a try. He's away. That's a great riposte from the Wallabies. Larkham has just blitzed the New Zealand defence, and Sterling Mortlock gets his third Test try in as many matches. Looking to consolidate from this attacking platform, John Eales. Gregan, little gap here for Williams. Big Jim Williams! Can he get there? Wallabies driving, 1 metre short. Gregan now, here it is! Stadium. 7 to go. Great pass from Gregan. Little hammered there by Randall. Roth. 5 to go for Australia. Gregan to Larkham. Herbert almost through the gap. Gregan again. Latham. He's there. Third try for Australia. John Eales at the back. Larkham with great hands. Mix up. Little. Gregan. He recovers. George Gregan! The chance is on here for Jeremy Paul. Australia trailed by 4. What a break there by Gregan. Latham's out on the left, calling for the ball on the wing. Roth. Torai Kepu. 8 minutes to go. Australia now. Kafer. Paul! There it is! 2.5 minutes to go. Australia by 1 point. Alatini. Iramia. Sandwiched in midfield. Kelleher. Randall and Lomu. Can he do it? Larkham. Lomu has won the game surely for New Zealand.
To be able to be 24-0 down and then at half-time be 24-all was a great comeback, and it probably took a lot out of the Wallabies coming back from that deficit. And I think that the way that the public clapped both sides when they left the field, it was an entertaining game of rugby that people, didn't matter what they paid to come in and watch the game, they were very pleased with the match.
Australia then took on the Springboks again at Stadium Australia in Sydney. They couldn't afford any more slip-ups.
Gregan now for Larkham. Here's Herbert. Quick hands. Mortlock. That's his 6th test try in a very young career. And it was the staccato passing and the loop again of the Wallaby fly half. Gregan. Kefu. He's burst through. Latham's with him. What a pass there. Jason Little. Can Little do it in his final home test? I think he couldn't get over the goal line. Finally he does.
Jeremy Paul, all the work done by Little. JP gets one under the sticks.
A fitting finale for Richard Harry and David Wilson's last tests on home soil.
It's slowly coming. I guess you're up at another level and it's a bit more pressure, and I've just had to work on my style a bit more, and it's finally come, and I'm getting into a good rhythm and hitting the kicks well.
Just a week later, it was the much anticipated rematch against the All Blacks.
Gregan for Larkham. Herbert, clean break, feeds it up, and Mortlock is chased by Umaga. He'll make it though. 5 out from the 22, right in centre field for Gregan. Larkham on for Jason Little. Eales is right there with him. Now it's Larkham again. Kefu. Trip off to Latham, who's up in the line. They keep it going. Larkham. Joe Roth for the corner. They've got another one. Mertens for Alatini. Umaga. 22-metre line with some forward momentum now, the All Blacks. Looking blindside with Alatini. Lomu again.
15 metres out.
Best chance the All Blacks have had so far. Umaga goes again. Referee playing advantage. Mertens for Thribb. The kick for Cullen. Brilliant.
Beautiful ball to the back of the line out, giving some space.
Here they are, some intricate moves. Aaron Malista, Umaga.
Classic.
That equals the record. That's absolutely brilliant again. This kick will decide the fate of the Bledisloe Cup. His kick has retained the Bledisloe Cup.
This is a great stadium, and I'll tell you what, from our point of view, we love playing here much more so than Athletic Park. Athletic Park had its own character, but this is a pretty special atmosphere here today.
The following week, the All Blacks were beaten by South Africa in Johannesburg, which meant that Australia travelled to Durban knowing a win would secure that elusive Tri-Nations trophy. The Wallabies went to South Africa in good spirits and, in their capacity as world champions, took time to undertake community work within the townships. But they rarely took their eyes off the main prize and were intent upon adding the Tri-Nations to the trophies they'd won in the last 12 months.
Jason Little finding it quite tough against Corne Krige and the centre three quarters. Space for Herbert. This is where he's dangerous. Still they come. Richard Harry now. Big drive from him. Jeremy Paul finding a bit of space for Latham. Can he get in?
We'll go upstairs.
Oh, we're going to come back upstairs. I fancy Chris Latham might have sneaked in there.
Jonathan, I want you just to check it.
However, with time running out, the Springboks thought they'd pinched it after this massive kick from Bram van Straten. But with the game entering injury time, Australia were awarded a penalty, and up stepped Sterling Mortlock, charged with the task of winning his country's first ever Tri-Nations. And he was more than up to the job. And so John Eales became the first Australian captain to lift the Tri-Nations at the 5th time of asking. There were some very special visitors to Australia in 2001. The British and Irish Lions had arrived for a 3-test series. Although rugby had now been professional for 5 years, a Lions tour was still a highlight for any player.
Yeah, it means a lot for both teams, and there's probably never been a trophy that's more equitable in many senses, like Tom Richards played for both Australia and the British Lions, so it's a very fair representation.
Australia were boosted by the triumph of level at the break, Matt Burke edged the Wallabies into the lead for the first time in the series.
Gregan, Larkham, those passes drifting towards the forward, but Roth doesn't mind, and Roth is in again. Joe Roth, it's a killer touch from him. The big weapon. That inside ball, starting to see it now from Gregan to Kefu, then he goes outside to Gray. Finnegan lobs it up to Burke. What a score, what a blow.
Celebrations for John Eales, playing his 50th international as captain.
And so, with the series all square, the action moved on to the crucial decider in Sydney.
Dawson's got it again. Wilkinson, out it goes to Watt. On to Tom Smith. Jason Robinson! He's done it again! Billy Whiz. Make that Sir Billy Whiz. And a monumental second half, the scrum half in the second test, and he's fizzing there. Out to Andrew Walker, to Joe Roth, to Daniel Herbert. It's a beautifully worked score. And when they retain the ball, you can see their greatness.
Stay back! Leave it!
Dawson once more. All about picking the right option and picking the right man. That man is Johnny Wilkinson. Gregan again. Kefu scrambling on and nearly getting there. Gregan, oh, it must be. It is Herbert again. They're counting down the clock. It's behind Bullshaw. Need to keep it in. Travis. It's still alive, I think. Robinson tries to tap it. Walker will run it out. Walker will run it out.
I'd like to invite the Prime Minister of Australia, Mr. John Howard, to present the Tom Richards Trophy to the winning captain, John Eales.
Rod McQueen surprisingly retired after the Lions tour, but in Eddie Jones there was a ready-made replacement. He'd worked closely with the Australia A side and also knew most of the Wallabies very well from his time at the Brumbies.
He's fantastic, a real thorough coach, and his input will be great towards the team.
But his first real test was in Pretoria against South Africa.
Springbok pack are really hunting as a group as well. Skinstad, straight through, here he comes, Bobby Skinstad, a magnificent try!
All Australia's points came from penalties, the final one from replacement Manny Edmonds, but a disappointing start for Eddie Jones. A fortnight later, it was off to Dunedin for the first part of the year's Bledisloe Cup.
Stabs it for Lamu. Rough and Lamu. Lamu gets up and he's got it. And his 50th Test match. Jonah opens the scoring. Here comes Matthew Burke. Kick and chase. Burke leading the charge. Howlett getting back. Burke, brilliant. Try scored by Matthew Burke. Outstanding individual effort. And And the All Blacks are going backwards here, and the fact they've been turned over.
Well, terrible indecision, really, handing it to a man who didn't want it, wasn't ready for it.
Regan gets going. Now Larkham ghosting into the gap. Here's trouble. Cribb having to get back. Oh, that's going to be a penalty try, I think. Yes, it is. No doubt about that. No doubt about that at all. Penalty try.
(23-15) the final score, and Australia retained the Bledisloe Cup. In the week before the return with South Africa, the Wallabies took a trip to a firing range. But it was the Springboks who remained firmly in their sights.
We don't tend to look ahead that much. We know that the 80 minutes we've got on Saturday is going to be the hardest game we've played in the Tri-Nations, and that's the only thing we're looking at, and whatever happens after that looks after itself.
And so the action moved west to Perth's Subiaco Oval.
Butch James. Space here for the box. Van der Westhuizen. Venter. Jantjes. Andrews. What a try. Stay up on your feet. Good clean out by the Australian forwards. That was it was Nick Stiles. Herbert. Gray. Graham Bond. It was an early tackle, says the referee. Finnegan now. Cobain. Tantalisingly close. Composure needed. And Gray. Nathan Gray does it for Australia. His 4th Test try, and scores are level. Phil Waugh was there. Finnegan again makes another 5. Australia working it through the phases. They're getting closer to those posts. The drop goal's on for Larkham. Can he do it again? It's close. It's gone wide. What an anticlimax. That is full time. Incredibly, these two sides have played themselves to a standstill.
That draw and New Zealand's subsequent victory over the Springboks in Auckland meant that the Tri-Nations would go down to the wire in Sydney. The stage was set for a titanic struggle.
Regan goes in. Australia need protection at the breakdown. The referee says it's out. Here's Giffen. Anton Oliver. Giffen offloaded. 15 metres out from the goal line. Finnegan has a crack. And now Larkham. Larkham goes to the boot. The referee plays advantage, and Latham is there. The referee awards the try. Aggressive scrummaging from New Zealand. 45 metres out. Here's Mertens. Alatini into space. Steps beautifully. Umanga's with him. And this is Howlett. Oh, what a try. Missed tackles by the Aussies. Australia protecting possession. Larkham in ball. Latham was not watching the ball. He was watching the defence. New Zealand could sting here. This is Flavel. Roth comes in for the tackle. Byron Kelleher now. McDonald, Alatini, Lomu's outside. Great work by Lomu, and Alatini gets another one. Gregan again, and Larkham. Kefu, Tole Kefu! Did he get it? That's the match winner!
Well, Anton, a very brave attempt by your side. You must be devastated.
Yeah, we are.
You said they were back in last week's game, and they were. Clearly tonight they showed that real All Black pride.
Yeah, I mean, it was only a couple of minutes before and we really could have won it. We should have won it, really.
The perfect end to John Eales' career.
We've had some great success, but I think the most exciting thing is that it augurs the success that we've had this year, and the young guys that have come through, it augurs so well for the future. And I know that I'm going to enjoy sitting back in the crowd here next time Australia run onto this stadium, sitting back and supporting an Australian team in the future. Finally, on a personal note, there's no doubt that I'll miss playing for the Wallabies. It's been a very big part of my life. I think outside of family and friends, it's been the biggest part of my life. And on behalf of myself, I'd like to thank everyone here, representing all in Australia that have supported the Wallabies over the years. So thank you very much for your support.
There was an air of optimism around the Wallabies as they reported for Tri-Nations duty. Despite John Eales' retirement, there was no reason they couldn't win a third competition in a row. But first up were a New Zealand team comprising almost entirely of the reigning Super 12 champions, the Crusaders.
Well, I think that's the advantage for New Zealand, is that they're playing at a home ground with crowds that are going to be obviously very supportive of them. But the downside of that is that the expectation is that the Christchurch people want to see a Crusader-like performance, and John Mitchell's quite rightly said that Super 12 football and Test football are different, and it's going to be a different game on Saturday, and it's not going to be the Crusaders playing, it's going to be the All Blacks.
There were in fact 12 Crusaders in the All Black starting lineup in bitterly cold conditions in Christchurch. Leading Australia out for the first time in a Tri-Nations match was George Gregan, who was the unanimous choice to replace Eales. The game itself, as predicted by Eddie Jones, bore little relation to Super 12 and was decided by 4 penalties from Andrew Mertens.
It's a 4-game series, the Tri-Nations. You always want to start with a win, but we proved it last year. You don't necessarily need to win the first one to win the comp.
The Wallabies had 2 weeks to put that defeat behind them and gear themselves up for the visit of the Springboks to the Gabba in Brisbane. In the week leading up to the game, Ben Tune, Matt Rogers and Stephen Larkham took the chance to get a unique view of the famous old stadium.
I've never seen the Gabba before, so it was good to see it from that perspective, and looks like that's only half done actually. That's a bit out, but it looks pretty good, and I look forward to playing. It'll be good when the Union posts are up.
Surprisingly, in 5 attempts, Australia had so far failed to win a rugby international in the Gabba. Stephen Larkham led the team out on the occasion of his 50th cap.
So Larkham working in close. Nice variation for Gregan. This is Tune, and he's there. What a brilliant move from the Wallaby backs. Here's Larkham. Step from Burke. Joubert was the tackler. Into space again for the Wallabies. Latham. Joubert again. Missed him. Sterling Mortlock. Poor defence, South Africa. Second try, Australia. Goal line ahead here for Gregan. Here's Latham. There it is, number 3. Simple overlap. Chris Latham in his hometown is on fire.
A great contest for the ball again by the Boks.
Here they go. This is their chance, and this is the quick man, Joubert. And now Russell. He is electric. Oh, just ankle tap, but he'll still get there. Brett Russell, this dynamic youngster, has scored an incredible try. He jumped out of the ground. Controlled by Kefu. Here they go. Flatley. So close. Gregan. Lyons. David Lyons. Matfield was there. They've held him back. Gregan goes in for it.
The Wallabies are all on the left here. South Africa a little skinny. Latham, and there it is. Chris Latham gets his second try.
And so the Gabba hoodoo broken in what was likely to be the last international game played there with the development of the new Suncorp Stadium in the city. Bolstered by that victory, the Wallabies undertook some unconventional training in the gym as excitement built for the arrival of the All Blacks.
Very excited. Yeah, it'd be the biggest game of the year. There's a lot on the line for us personally. The Bledisloe Cup, obviously, but you know, if we lose this game as well, we could lose the. We'd probably definitely lose the Tri-Nations.
And so, for the third year in succession, this fixture was played in the former Olympic Stadium in Sydney, now called the Telstra Stadium.
Larkham, there's a good line, Paul. Marshall came up for the tackle. They're still going left on a loose pass. Here's Ben Tune. He beat 2 weak tackles, a third. Australia can go again here. Larkham, Sharkers with him, the big throw! First test try!
Wallabies going for the 3-man line out. Harrison.
And McCaw scores! It was a throw over the back that missed the man, and New Zealand in front for the first time. 5 metres from the goal line, Jeremy Paul. New Zealand looking to turn it over. Which way will Gregan go? That's Herbert's. Breathtaking stuff here. A metre out. Gregan again. They go left. Here's Rogers. Rogers has done it for Australia. Gregan, Paul. He's had a marvellous game. Still Australia's ball. 15, there's the penalty. 15 seconds to go. The penalty's on for Australia, so is the drop goal. There's no advantage. Here's the penalty, and it's all to the right boot of Matthew Burke. He's done it. The hoot is gone. The Bledisloe Cup remains on Australian soil, and Matthew Burke is the hero.
Yeah, it's something about this place. Both teams are again, it goes right down to the final minute, and you know, fantastic effort by both teams, but we're really happy with the win.
The following week, the All Blacks beat the Springboks 30-23 in Durban, which meant the Wallabies now had to win their final fixture in Johannesburg to confirm a third Tri-Nations crown in 3 years. And as the players relaxed in the comfortable surroundings of their hotel, they knew in the days ahead they'd be off to one of the world's most intimidating places to play rugby, Ellis Park against South Africa.
Well, traditionally, you know, the years that we've played over at Ellis Park, it's been very loud. The crowd really get behind their team. We've had oranges thrown at us at Ellis Park, so quite parochial, certainly up there. And from the confrontation, you know, we're expecting a very physical battle up front, and expecting them to throw the ball around out in the backs.
And there was the traditional welcome awaiting them in the stadium. Although they edged into a 9-0 lead through the boot of Matt Burke, they were soon pegged back by a fired-up Springbok team.
Here goes Kefu. Well tackled by Scholes. Gregan, Larkham, Herbert. This is Matt Rogers, he's very dangerous. Whoa, he gets the ball down. Matt Rogers so often comes onto the field and gets a try.
Keep the tackles down.
Frantic stuff.
Still playing advantage.
Gregan, wide for Kefu, and Kefu gets the try. One would say good advantage to Australia there by Paddy O'Brien. Ollie LaRue with the throw, Skinstad couldn't get, this is George Smith in space. George Smith, has he the pace to go all the way? Polster gets back, stays on his feet. Now it's a
That looks like it's Brendan Cannon who's got in for the try. It is. Look how excited Gregan is. It's Cannon who got the try for the Wallabies. And this game has turned around completely. Conradi, Russell, wide for Skinstad. Van Niekerk is there. Skinstad well tackled there by, amongst others, Gregan. Another ball for South Africa. Oh, Werner Greef! Look at this! Greef!
Miraculous from Werner Greef. Glory to the Springboks as everybody's out of their seats here at Ellis Park.
And so Greef's try handed the Tri-Nations back to New Zealand for the first time since 1999. ...2003 meant World Cup year, and as part of their preparations for the tournament, both Wales and England played test matches in Australia. Against Wales, Nathan Gray starred at fly half in a convincing performance. But the Wallabies came unstuck against Martin Johnson's team. England were a much different proposition from the one which folded so meekly in 1998.
Wilkinson. Cohen's wrapped up.
Australia got to make sure they don't give away a penalty.
Greenwood again now! Too strong! First try! Tried to pop it up for Hill. Back's pass was loose. Great work by Wilkinson. Try coming up! Tyndall! Straight up the middle. Wendell to the corner. Sensational!
Sailors tried too little too late as Australia suffered their first ever defeat on home soil to England. The Tri-Nations kicked off with a trip to Cape Town for the Wallabies.
Gregan, Flatley, Rogers, Sailor, Wendell Sailor gets the first try for Australia. They're back in the lead. Here's Russell. Can he get away from the men? Yes, he can. From both their centres. He's opened it up for David Barry. He needs to look on the outside. Brilliant pass. Russell. Can he get it on the inside? Here goes Stefan de Blanche. This could be the try of the season. It's Victor Matfield.
But Australia hit back with two tries. Firstly, from Phil Waugh.
Gregan, Flatley, Burke, the Bucky's Buerta slip, and here goes Joe Roth. Try Australia!
But it wasn't enough, and a disappointing start for Eddie Jones's men. Next up for the Wallabies were John Mitchell's All Blacks, fresh from putting 52 points past the Springboks in Pretoria.
And Australia's turned it over. So a bonus, and Smith and Waugh in concert there, and now Rogers. Here comes Sailor. Sailor now with Flatley in support. Flatley, Cannon the hooker. It's 10 metres out for the Wallabies. Big overlap here, Kefu. Burke, yes! What a mighty try by the Wallabies. Major. Spencer on the loop, Rokethoko. He's got the pace.
Three tries from Joe Rokethoko completed a miserable day for the Wallabies, a record home defeat against the All Blacks. That defeat had increased the pressure on the Wallabies. Losing heavily to their oldest rivals in a World Cup year was not encouraging. But Eddie Jones urged patience. They went back to the training ground and worked hard to put things right.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't performed well. We haven't performed to our expectations and obviously the public's expectations. So, we're looking forward to doing that this Saturday.
That's the beauty of what we do. You know, you can turn it around. It's important that the team has that belief. I certainly have that belief that we can do it, and you know, we're on the right track in terms of getting things going in the right direction and leading into the World Cup. So, as I said previously, 2 big games to go and lots of things to play for.
Davidson, Louis Corn, now the Springboks go wide, but poor pass in midfield, had a chance. Rogers scores the try that puts the Wallabies in the lead.
The ball wide to Takiri would be the go, and it's gone that way. Takiri, 5 metres short. Whittaker, sharp, shows all his strength. Australia rampaging, close to the Springbok line. Wide ball, try is on here. Tefu. What a reward. If ever a player deserved a reward, it's Phil Waugh.
The Wallabies back on track with a convincing victory. South Africa then went down to the All Blacks in Dunedin, a result which confirmed New Zealand's 5th Tri-Nations trophy since 1996. The final game of the series was in Auckland, and the All Blacks were determined to wrestle back the Bledisloe Cup for the first time since 1997.
Now Marshall, away for Spencer, long one out to Mialamu. Howlett wants to join it. Mialamu, away to Doug Howlett. That's a brilliant try. Brilliant work by Collins, just walked over the top. Now the chase is on. Howlett's got too much speed for Flatley. Howlett again. Here's Smith, looking to get it as wide as quickly as possible. Remember, it's advantage. Gregan.
Overlap.
Once it's over. Advantage is over. Chance for Smith. George Smith. Wallabies back in it big time.
But it wasn't enough, and the Bledisloe Cup was back in New Zealand's hands. ...2004 gave the Wallabies an early chance to put their World Cup final defeat to England behind them. And they did. Running in 6 tries to win 51-15. The Tri-Nations started with George Gregan missing through injury, and so Nathan Sharp was given the honour of leading Australia out for the first time.
Price. Has a go at the line, he can't make it. Now Marshall for Spencer, Rocker Foko, Muliaina, and Doug Howlettson.
The conditions made for a difficult night's rugby, epitomised by Sterling Mortlock's try. But that was as good as it got for the Wallabies, and the Bledisloe Cup remained in New Zealand. The talk before the next Wallaby fixture was all about George Gregan. About to be capped for the 100th time, he was just behind David Cambese's record of 101.
It's very important from a team point of view too. Like, it's obviously from an individual, personal point of view, it's a very proud moment for me. But in saying that, it's also a proud moment for a bloke called Jeremy Paul tomorrow night. He's playing his 50th Test, which is great. And from a team perspective, it's an important game for us to play well and win. Not only to sort of keep going forward in terms of the way we're progressing this year, but to stay alive in this Tri-Nations tournament, which is a big goal for us this year.
And so Gregan walked out onto the pitch in the gold and green for the 100th time, 10 years after his debut against Italy. And he was soon in the thick of the action.
Now Australia down in the attacking zone. Test here for Montgomery. Lottie Takiri here. Lottie Takiri. Yes! First straight for the Wallabies. Intercept. It's a clear sprint for De Villiers. Mortlock across. De Villiers all the way. AJ Fenta has been pretty quiet tonight. This man hasn't. Berger.
Hands away now, hands away! One of the great things you see what Berger has done for all players, the fact that he follows his pass.
Here's Harvey Dutoy, he wants the bounce. Great skill. And Takiri. Taking them on. Lovely pass to Mortlock. Now Larkham. They're queuing up. It's Rathbone against his countrymen.
A week later, it was the return against the Kiwis in Sydney.
Inside the quarter. Larkham, they're queuing up. This is sharp. Poor pass. Mortlock. Oh, if he'd let it go to Latham. Marshall came through offsides. Still there for Australia. Smith out wide. Overlap, it has to be. David Lyons. He went himself with two men unmarked outside. It's still there. Takiri.
23-18, the final score. South Africa's victory over New Zealand the week before meant that this game was now the Tri-Nations decider.
No. Gregan able to feed it for Rathbone. Little dab to Kyrgios in the clear here. This could be a try for Australia. Bolsard to carry in for the first score of the game. And ultimately, pretty simply for him. It's not a bad up and under by Brayton Paulson. They're all there. Now, here goes Victor Matfield. He can go all the way here. Victor Matfield gets his fourth try and he circles around George Gregan. No! South Africa must get their hands on the ball quickly. Comes now, the skip is required. Van der Westhuizen. They've still got the ball, South Africa. They need to go left now, they must score. They go left now, they must score. It's got to be Van Niekerk. Desperate defence by the South Africans. They're missing too many first-timers. Now Larkham finds Mortlock. This has got to be a try for the Wallabies. Sterling Mortlock. Now, is there enough time here? Australia will have to throw the ball in quickly. South Africa need to compete it. They do so. Vickerman brings it down for Smith. Trying to maul it. They need to get it back. That's over the line. Try. Six. George Smith has scored the try.
But South Africa hung on to record their second Tri-Nations triumph. And so the Wallabies fell just short, courtesy of that defeat. New Zealand finished bottom of the table for the first time since 1998. 2005 started with a challenging fixture against the French in Brisbane.
10 from halfway. He's Larkham. There's the gap. Munns down on the ground. Elisal. Stephen Larkham away. Clean pair of heels. That's Australia's riposte.
Smart play by Larkham. Just run to the man who's on the ground. He can't defend.
Great ball for Arak, the great stepper. Intercept for Jeremy Paul. Here they go. Chisholm. Great offload now for Rowe. Bill Young's in support. He was pushed over without the ball. Larkham. Latham out wide. Can they stop him? Just. Sailors looking for it. And there it is. Another one for the Wallabies. Johnny on the spot. Jeremy Paul.
Victory against the French offering encouragement for the forthcoming Tri-Nations campaign. And it was the Springboks first up in Pretoria. These teams had met the week before in Johannesburg in the Mandela Cup, which South Africa had won convincingly.
Larkham to Renui. Good ball this for the Wallabies. Gregan Smith. Try. Dupria, de Villiers, Pretoria, Sabana injects some pace there. But his hands above the tackle beautifully. That's as good. Brayton Pulser is away.
An Andre Pretorius drop goal then sealed the Wallabies' fate, which meant Eddie Jones was still looking for his first win in South Africa as Wallaby coach. Next up were the All Blacks in Sydney.
Rock solid Australian scrum. Here's Mitchell. He got away from Carter. Lovely step. Has momentum got in there? We're going to have to wait for the video rep, but the Australian players feel he's slid over the goal line.
I think that's try time.
Thank you. Takiri again. Mortlock, hospital pass that one. And New Zealand have it. Trouble, big trouble. Umanga and Urokotoko, the Rocket Man. He kept it in play, he needs the bounce. And you can shut the gate. There goes the Bledisloe Cup for 2005.
30-13 it finished. With the Wallabies seemingly wobbling, the Springboks arrived in Perth looking for their first Tri-Nations away win since 1998.
Gito as Australia stormed the line. And the pass wasn't sympathetic. The counter's on from South Africa with an overlap. Here goes Habana. I don't think they'll catch him. He's the quickest man on the field. Takiri won't get there. And a breakout try for the Springboks. Taken by Sharp. Good pick up by Gregan. Tiranui! Rathbone's with him. Tiranui and Rathbone. There's the try Australia's been searching for. Distance is fine. And the touch judges say yes. Wallabies by 19-17. Seventh phase for the Wallabies. Gregan looking to offload.
This is great work by both teams. Fortunately put down by Rogers, and there's a breakout.
Look out! Can they catch this man? Habana, he's done it again! Habana from his goal line, a turnover Australia.
A third Tri-Nations defeat in a row for the Wallabies. This run of results put Australia bottom of the table. New Zealand's subsequent win in Dunedin over South Africa meant that a win in their final game against the Wallabies would confirm yet another Tri-Nations for the All Blacks. And it was a sombre-looking Australian team that arrived in the Eden Park dressing rooms looking to avoid a fifth consecutive first-class defeat. Injuries had hit the squad hard, and many of the faces were unfamiliar to most Wallaby fans. The plaudits kept coming for George Gregan, though, as he equalled England's Jason Leonard's haul of 114 international caps.
Equalling 114th Test performance.
But the match started badly for the Wallabies, with Doug Howlett's try.
Brendan Cannon throws. A little bit shaky, but they've got it. Here's a flat pass. Gerrard on the charge. Mark Gerrard, what a good run. Now he's looking for support, and I think Chisholm's in. Try. Cannon throws deep. Elsom, he's been the major ball winner. In pass. Here's Gerrard. Gerrard's in. What a start. The Wallabies rush to him. They know how important that try is. And Wepu now for McDonald, charged by Takiri. Here's a chance for the Wallabies. He's leading the race. gets the try, Lottie Takiri. And once again, the Australians are on the front foot. Regan. Rogers. Oh, nice pass to Smith. Here's a chance, and Joe Hansen, first touch of the ball in Test rugby, and he gets a try.
But despite a stirring fight back, the All Blacks proved too strong in the end. But much encouragement for the future.
Tony, you played 70. What about this little bloke here? He's at 114.
Oh, mate, yeah. I've got much kudos for this guy. I can't do half the things that he can, and I'm feeling my age. I don't know about this guy. He's a spring chicken.
George, come on in. George Gregan, 114 Test matches, a marvellous achievement. George, they don't get any easier, but you must be mighty proud of the way your side came back tonight.
Yeah, it was a great effort from the guys, but we're a team which doesn't sort of really accept losses, and it's disappointing, but the effort was outstanding. Particularly proud of the young guys who came on and made a big impact, and Roydie did a great job getting his first few touches and scoring a try.